Jay here with extreme weather alerts, my YouTube weather channel. Thanks for joining. And it's a serious night because we have a major hurricane that's imminent to be making landfall in America, in Florida, and that's Hurricane Idalia on the southwest or lower left part of your screen. There's another hurricane out there, Hurricane Franklin, we've been tracking out here going by Bermuda. And that's actually forecast to go closer than it was expected. So tropical storm conditions with that storm. But really here to give you an update on Idalia down here. Let's give you some statistics and the latest on the storm. Now, right now it's about almost 11:30 Eastern time. So we're getting into the overnight. But if you're watching me, let's say from Tampa, or you have interest down there, there's part of the storm moving overhead right now. If you're there, you can hear the wind outside likely, and certainly the rain as you're getting that right feeder band that's going right over you, even as the eye of the storm is passing by you to your west. Here's the forecast path from the Hurricane Center. And again, landfall in this zone right in here, and that's well to happen during the dawn hours tomorrow morning. Here's a look at the latest radar, some of the latest radar images, and this is about a little after 10 o'clock during the nighttime on the East Coast. And you can see those feeder bands are coming right in, stretching all the way from west of Naples over Tampa. So you're getting tropical storm wind gusts across parts of the Tampa Bay area right now. And the big concern with these is potential tornadoes. So these little cells down here, these could produce brief but damaging tornadoes. So you might hear a tree branch come down, you might hear some noise as these storms come up, and they're kind of training from south to north, so they're probably going to last for some time. And now a tornado watch, obviously, in effect, as we have that threat going through at least 6 a.m. in a lot of that area. There's a look at the path again. Now, as a zoomed in look at the path, you'll see the areas we're most concerned about, I'd say, especially near around Perry and down to near Cedar Key. We know that Cedar Key, you're watching very, very closely with this storm here. The hope is maybe that the core of the storm goes a little bit farther to the west, and maybe you don't get into the absolute worst conditions of this storm, and it's a little bit less of a bad scenario, but it's going to be bad, unfortunately, regardless, even in Cedar Key. Now here's a look at the forecast models. Nothing much has changed except that the storm is coming in a little quicker. So this is the HWRF for 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And the low indicates where the hurricane center will be, and that's inland. So that means the storm will be coming ashore likely before that. So we could have landfall just before dawn, say from 5 to 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Now, beyond this, the storm is going to move right along and move into Georgia as we head into Wednesday, and it's going to weaken. And again, the wind gusts across Florida are going to range mostly from tropical storm force to near minimal hurricane force here along the west coast, as I restart this in motion here. And the strongest winds clearly off into the Gulf, into the eastern part of the Big Bend, and around, we call this the neck of Florida right here. And those wind gusts could top 140 miles per hour. Rainfall, this is not the wettest hurricane because it's moving kind of quickly, but we could easily see upwards of 8 inches or more anywhere here, and also down in the Tampa area too with that heavy band overhead. We could see more than that, 2 inches. We could see 5 to up to near 8 inches for you guys as well. The storm surge, though, is the number one concern because down here in this purple shading near the core of the storm, where the eye is going to move overhead, we're going to see a storm surge up to 15, maybe 18 feet, anywhere in that purple area here. So Horseshoe Beach, Cedar Key, potentially could be you. Now, Perry, you're a bit inland of the coast, but if you're on the coast down here, it's going to be a very bad situation a Wednesday morning. Down to the south here in southwest Florida, we've had some surges around Fort Myers again, but relatively minimal to moderate flooding. It won't get much worse than that. Tampa, though, we could see up to 7 feet of surge around the Tampa Bay area Wednesday morning. I mentioned some of these communities right in the path of the storm. If you're in or know anyone in Steinhatchee, Horseshoe Beach, Cedar Key, Perry, Sewanee, I mentioned it earlier, they had to get out of the way because the worst conditions now will be arriving within hours. If for some reason you're still there, get out now. Because a lot of those places, well, really all those places if you're hit with the worst of the surge, there's not going to be anything left that's really going to be worth saving. Here's Hurricane Idalia expected impacts now. Now for Tampa itself, mentioned, now wind gusts get up to near hurricane force, and you'll have some of that surge on the bay in the morning, but it's not going to be the full brunt of the storm. But don't go outside. It's going to be dangerous out there. Cedar Key is where we're expecting near the full impact of the storm, and wind gusts there over 100 as the storm moves on by. Severe surge flooding possible. Well, we're calling it likely. It's indeed likely at this point. We just hope it won't be the worst case scenario. That might be a little bit farther west. But please be careful out there. Tallahassee, now you're inland. You don't have to worry about surge. But you do have to worry about that wind. You do have to worry about potential wind damage if the winds get as strong as they could, up to 100 miles per hour or a little bit more, because the storm is not going to have time to weaken that much after it crosses the coast. It'll improve by later Wednesday and Wednesday night. So that's an update on the storm. Everybody stay safe and sound out there. Stay indoors. If you're in any of those communities I mentioned still at this time, get out now, because otherwise we might be finding you there in the morning. Stay safe, everyone. We'll have more updates coming up.